Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another Walking Dead video. Today we're going to be breaking down the trailer for the season finale of Season 2 of Daryl Dixon. I can't believe it's already here. And it's crazy to think that it is already here, and we waited so long for this season after it was initially delayed. And we've already reached the end of the road for this season, and we've seen so many things happen in the short 6 episodes that we've been able to get out of this particular series, and everything that's going on and everything that's leading up to, and I think with some things kind of hidden in the back. And I'm going to kind of discuss those and kind of theorize on what I think they could possibly be setting up, just kind of judging. And I think this is becoming kind of a popular theory out there, but I will get into it. But we're going to jump into the trailer and just talk about it and talk about what we think might be coming. And the trailer opens up with Anna's little convoy, and as we know, Anna is the club leader now. She owns the club, and she helped Daryl and Carol and Ash and everybody kind of get back together and begin the trip home, or at least try to get things together so they can get home. But we see her little convoy get ambushed by Madame Janae's people, and it's the thing too, the leadership with this group, because it's not Madame Janae, obviously. She has been killed for what will be 2 episodes at this point. She was killed in episode 4, then Losang took over. He was killed shortly after that. He was very brutally murdered by Daryl Dixon, rightfully so, for what he did to Isabel. And then his little right-hand woman, who was, I guess, thought to believe to be dead, turns out she's not, and she's always been kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, she's been kind of creepy. And just the way that she lurked in the back and whispered in Losang's ear and just being kind of an all-around nuisance. And so now she's in charge of this group, and she's going to be leading these people to find Laurent. So we've got this little league of soldiers or what have you now in the leadership of what I'm going to refer to as Crazy Eyes, because I can't remember her name. But moving on to the next frame, we have a shot of Anne and Crazy Eyes and talking about finding Laurent. And Anna is quick to give up the location, because at the end of the day, Anna, she is pretty much all about herself and being someone that people can go to get resources, to get favors and things like that. So she's going to do what's in the best interest of her. So she makes a deal with this person, with Crazy Eyes, that if I give you this information, I get the plane and you can have Daryl and Laurent and everybody involved in that little group. And I don't know if this is a play or she's legitimately just a bad person, honestly. And so I think this is kind of where that's going. Next frame, we get a shot of Crazy Eyes here, and just, she's very, I don't know, she has absolutely no empathy or sympathy behind her eyes. She just is this thoughtless, and I think she's a fanatic regarding Laurent's supposed destiny and wanting to get him back. And I think at the end of the day, too, with her, it's all about what's good for her. And she's just probably basically a selfish person who thinks that she's doing the right thing, but for all the wrong reasons. And just, I can't wait for things to go poorly for her, like they've gone for the last 2 people that were involved and in charge of these soldiers and whatnot. Then we got a shot of Carol here with Ash in the back, and this is something I actually forgot to mention in my breakdown for the last episode. Carol does come clean with Ash, and it does not go well. He is, rightfully so, very pissed off that he was lied to. He was manipulated with the memory of Sophia, and he feels very cheated and just very used. And so, you know, he's very disappointed in how things turned out and the lie that Carol had to go to in order to gain his trust and to use his plane. And just, he's very, very unhappy about this. I mean, for the right reasons. I mean, who would want to be used like that and lied to just to get access to something that they have? But it does come down to it, and he does, I think, agree to take them back, because they did, though, have at the end of the last episode, is kind of where the episode ended, that he cannot take all 4 of them. The plane will not get up off the ground. And I don't know if this is, you know, complete honesty or he's just really pissed off. The next frame, we got Daryl in that same conversation, just talking about things and what they need to do to get home, because Carol has already kind of said that she will stay behind if she has to, because of the fact that the plane is not built or just not meant to make long hauls with that amount of people. So, you know, they have to kind of make these sacrifices of who's going to leave and who's going to stay. And with the way that this trailer plays out, we do see what the choices that they make. And I'm going to go into a little bit about what I think that ultimately means for the future of this show and anything down the road with Walking Dead. But getting to the next frame, we see that they do get tracked down, because here is the little militia coming after them, coming to the stadium that they have landed and stashed the plane. Getting into the next frame, we have Carol and Laurent, and they notice these people are coming, and they know they have to make a decision now. So everything's come down to the wire, and what they need to do to survive, what they need to do to help Laurent get out of this, because they kind of dragged him into it. He was willing to stay, but Daryl convinced him that it's better if he goes. So they do have to make the decision quickly to get him out of there. Here's another shot of Crazy Eyes making her way into the situation. Then we have the arrival of Falou and Condron. Now, Condron has had a very, I think, fulfilling redemption arc. He started out clearly as kind of one of the villains or whatnot, and he's come to realize that he was in the wrong, he was down the wrong path, and he had to make things right. And he did so by helping Laurent, trying to keep the secret of where Laurent was stashed at the time before Madame Genet found out, and then just continuing to protect him, get him out of any sticky situations that he gotten into, with the last episode where Lo Sang had showed up at the rooftop colony, and Condron was able to get him out of there and get him back to Daryl. The next one, I think this is where Condron's story is going to end. I had done a video about this when we originally got the full trailer for the season, and I think this is where his story is going to end. This is where he's going to make his ultimate sacrifice, because we see the plane in the background, and he's providing covering fire for them to get out as these people arrive, so this plane can have the runway it needs to get out of here and take off. And so I think he's going to make the ultimate sacrifice, and he's going to die in this last episode, because I really think with how they're doing things with the next season, they are really making an effort to cut any ties that they had to France with the death of several characters, and I think he is kind of next on the list. Then we get here, this is the reveal that Ash and Laurent are the only two on the plane, that they are making a run for, that this is the choice that they made, that to get Laurent out of there, his safety above all, because of, you know, the fact that he's a kid. They want him to have a future, they want him to have a chance and get away from these crazy people. Then another shot of Laurent and Ash hoping and praying that they get up off the ground as they're being shot at and whatnot. Then we get a shot of Daryl here. We saw this in the trailer too. I was kind of unsure because we had a close-up of his mouth, and it didn't look like Daryl's mouth for some reason to me, but this is clearly Daryl doing what he has to provide cover fire and to help Ash and Laurent get up off the ground and get out of there. Then we have Daryl here. Obviously, this is before he gets on the plane, saying goodbye, letting him know that he cares about him, and probably, you know, that he will find him again no matter where they end up. Then we got to look at our luminescent walkers that we got this season. I think this is going to take place in that Euro tunnel. That's been the big speculation. This is where all these walkers are going to be, or something that they've been exposed to make them have this glowing effect and whatnot. So I'm excited to see what the situation is with this, what the explanation is for this, and just what more lies down the road for them to get out of Paris and to make their way into Spain. And here's another interesting shot that I almost missed when I was doing my screen grabs for the trailer, but we get another Sophia reference. We get this stand-in actress who has come in to play the part of Sophia, and this is clearly, you know, just another instance of Carol not being over it, kind of being revisited by this, never really fully grieving or dealing with the fact that she lost Sophia, even though it's been over a decade at this point. And Sophia has just been kind of this ghost that keeps popping up, as we saw in the first episode with the whole barn thing, that she flashed back to that day at the barn, and now she's flashing back again with this other image of Sophia. This must be in the tunnels or leading up to the tunnels, but she's still clearly very haunted, because I don't think she ever really fully dealt with it. She never dealt with the loss of her daughter, and she just kind of shoved it down, as we saw how Carol went from this very shaky and very easily frightened woman to this hardened killer. And she is a hardened killer and hardened survivalist, and she buried all her feelings and all her grief, and I think this is finally everything kind of bubbling up to the surface. Maybe, I'm not sure what exactly causes it to happen now, but that's just kind of, I think, the story they've decided to go with her to make her more appealing, or just something in the sense to revisit this part of her history and why all of a sudden these feelings about Sophia popping up after all these years of just not dealing with it. Then we get the scene here in the tunnel. This is probably shortly after the thing with Sophia. Daryl kind of consoles her and says, all we can do is go forward, and all they can do is move on, because I honestly think it's just down to the fact that she didn't deal with it. She didn't process her grief like she should have. But then again, in this world, it's probably very difficult to do so because you're not really given any time to do it, because it's just one day to the next to survive, to make it through. So this is probably the result of all of that, just holding it back and holding it down for all these years, and it's finally bubbling back up. So we got Daryl here just consoling her, trying to comfort her and help her move forward, because they're kind of in the middle of something. They need to move forward to get out of this situation alive, to probably more than likely still be on the run from these soldiers if this other woman's ever dealt with, if Crazy Eyes is ever killed, or she just kind of fades into the background or something. This is just another shot of that, Daryl hugging Carol, trying to console her. And that is it for the snaps. Now, a couple of things other than the Sophia thing, with Ash and Laurent being the only ones that clearly got out of the airfield or out of the stadium and made their way, I just have to wonder, and this is one thing I have seen pop up with one other creator, and I'm sure anyone that follows Walking Dead stuff knows who this is. This is on the same thought process as Movie Idol. He's a guy that does a lot of Walking Dead stuff. He's someone that I came across and really come to admire and follow his material, because he does come at things at a really interesting angle, and he approaches things from angles that people might not think of. But this is kind of on par with his thoughts, with the I guess realization that Laurent and Ash make it out, or hopefully they make it out. Are they setting it up for down the road for them to be the ones who let know where Daryl is, that they get back to the Commonwealth? And this is how they kind of factor in or start to set up the whole Daryl-Rick reunion. They get back to the Commonwealth or back to Alexandria, just in that general area, and let them know this is where Daryl is, this is where we last saw him anyways. And could that set it up to reintroduce the CRM? Because as we know, Rick, at the end of his arc with the ones who live, he has connections now. He is probably someone that the CRM looks to, kind of exposing Major General Beale and his little evil regime and whatnot, and doing away with him and opening up the CRM to go help people or to bring people in or what have you. That those resources are there, that if Laurent and Ash make it back and they actually find Rick and the Commonwealth and everybody, could this set it up to reintroduce the CRM, to get the CRM to go after Daryl and bring him back home? And that is that kind of the ultimate in-game scenario right there, that they're going to bring them home and they're going to track them down wherever they end up in this whole little story, because we know that they are doing season 3 in Spain right now, and I think honestly that season 4 is also confirmed for Spain, so it looks like they might spend a couple years there too. So this is going to be how they set all that back up to give us the ending that we want to see and give us the reunions that we want to see, and hopefully just make it as much of a happy ending as possible, considering the world that they live in. So I just thought that was a very interesting kind of way to look at it, and it did make me think that when Laurent and Ash get away, you know, could they just possibly get away and they're not certain about where they end up and they just kind of disappear, and then a couple of years go by and they pop back up and say, hey, we made it back to America, we made it back to Rick and the Commonwealth, and we got the help of the CRM, and we found you guys, and now we're going to bring it home. So I just thought that was pretty cool, and definitely an interesting way to look at it. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, you enjoyed my breakdown of the trailer, my thoughts about what could possibly be coming down the road for this universe, please like, share, subscribe, leave comments, all of that. I'd much appreciate it. Help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers. I'm getting closer every day. I'm totally psyched. So please help me get there, and I guess that will do it, guys. So take care. Bye.